Get naloxone, save a life. The US is in the midst of a massive opioid epidemic, with tens of thousands of overdose deaths and millions more addicted to illicit drugs. It's gotten so bad, the Surgeon General has issued the first advisory in 13 years, urging more people to carry the overdose-reversing drug naloxone. During an overdose, synthetic drugs like heroin or fentanyl flood the brain and lock onto the opiate receptors, causing breathing to become dangerously slow. Naloxone can reverse the effects of an overdose and comes in two forms: a nasal spray and a syringe that should be injected into the muscles of the thigh, butt, or arms. The emergency medication works by knocking the opioids out of the receptors in the brain, blocking and temporarily reversing the effects for 30 to 90 minutes. Police officers and medical responders are among those who have been using naloxone to counter deadly ODs. The life-saving drug is also available at local pharmacies and local health departments. Can't have too much of anything.
British teen may have died from chewing too much gum. Too much chewing gum may have played a role in the sudden death of a 19-year-old in Wales in June of 2011. Excessive intake of aspartame and/or sorbitol, two sweetener ingredients in sugar-free gum, may have interfered with electrolytes in Samantha Jenkins' body, causing her salt levels to drop. Lumps of gum found in her stomach may have also affected the teenager's ability to absorb vital minerals. Jenkins suffered from a brainstem death due to swelling of the brain caused by convulsions from lack of salt, magnesium, and calcium. The Carmarthenshire coroner is set to open an inquest into Samantha's death next week.
Death by caffeine. A South Carolina teen is dead after a combo of caffeinated drinks triggered a fatal heart issue in his normally healthy heart. Davis Allen Cripe collapsed in class on April 26th and died just an hour later. The 16-year-old had consumed multiple caffeinated drinks that day and died from a caffeine-induced cardiac event, otherwise known as abnormal heart rhythm. A healthy adult can safely ingest as much as 400 milligrams of caffeine daily, equivalent to either 4 cups of coffee, 10 colas, or 3 to 5 energy drinks. But for teens, the recommended daily intake is only 100 milligrams. That's a cup of coffee, 3 colas, or 1 energy drink. Caffeine prompts the release of the stress hormone norepinephrine, too much of which can cause rapid or irregular heart rate. Not enough blood is pumped into the body as a result, thus damaging or shutting down the brain and other organs. People who have died from caffeine overdoses also experienced seizures, with some reportedly choking on their own vomit. Caffeine does have certain benefits, and the vast majority consume it with no negative effects. But experts warn it should be taken in moderation, especially for kids and adolescents.
People are getting high on anti-assquake drugs. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration is investigating a diarrhea medication with opiate-like effects. Federal health officials said the drug Imodium has caused several overdoses and cites the nation's opiate abuse problem. According to NBC News, many of the overdoses were accidental, but users have been taking Imodium to help curb cravings for highly addictive opioid drugs. Imodium, also known as loperamide, is intended to control the Hershey squirts. In high doses, the drug is extremely dangerous and could cause heart problems. The FDA warned those prescribed the drug to contact their doctor if they experienced heart-related symptoms. The FDA also recommended restricting over-the-counter sales of Imodium, similar to other easily abused medications, as they consider it a cause in heart failure cases. So maybe having a little case of the Mississippi mudslides is the least of your worries.
World Health Organization says hot dogs, bacon, and ham do increase cancer risk. A confusing report released Monday by a branch of the World Health Organization concluded that eating processed meat such as bacon, hot dogs, and ham increases the risk of bowel cancer. The International Agency for Research on Cancer's report comes after a panel of experts reviewed years of investigation into the links between processed meat and cancer. But even then, the panel's conclusion was not unanimous. Only 15 of 22 members agreed with the conclusions, while the other 7 disagreed or abstained. The report places processed meat in the agency's Group 1 category, joining alcohol, cigarettes, ionizing radiation, and diesel engine fumes. This means there is sufficient evidence to suggest processed meat causes cancer. The news provoked some humorous responses online, with the Dylan one vowing to help prevent cancer by eating everyone's bacon. While it didn't take long for the smug vegetarians to also come out of the woodwork. But with no clear guidelines given and confusion reigning over how much processed meat is safe to eat, many people, especially those in meat-loving countries, will view the findings as the latest attack on their individual freedoms. The American meat industry also began to push back, with the National Cattlemen's Beef Association saying the findings were based on weak associations, and the North American Meat Institute roasting the panel for its dramatic and alarmist overreach. But what about you? Will you eat less processed meat in view of the report? Leave your beefs in the comments.